So let me get started talking about the homepage analytics. What are some of the key metrics that we want to keep in mind when we are evaluating a homepage? Of course, there's many factors that you want to look at, but some of the critical factors when it comes to a homepage, one of the first things that you want to look at is the bounce rate. And typically, what we like to see the bounce rate for a main homepage on a website to be less than 30%. If we start seeing that the bounce rate increase or climb above the 30%, then that might tell us that there is an issue in terms of the messaging that the visitor is seeing prior to clicking on the website, and then the messaging that they are seeing post clicking on the website. Some of those issues, by the way, many times, well, I'll take that back. Some of those issues are a mix between SEO problems. So for example, if you're ranking for the wrong keywords, and sometimes they are conversion optimization problems, because there might be some issues with confidence and trust. The website, when the visitor lands on it, does not lend itself to trust. So the visitor decides that they want to leave right away. Another issue that's you want to look at is the exit rates. We usually like to see the exit rate for a main homepage to be less than 20%. That's a good indicator. I'm assuming that everybody's familiar with the difference between the bounce rate and exit rate. So bounce rate, if somebody is coming from an external source, they come from Google, from social, they come from email, and they land on the main homepage, we expect, like I said over here, 30% of the visitors to exit, to bounce, and an exit rate is more comprehensive measure. So a visitor viewed another page, then they got to the main homepage, we expect 20% of those visitors to exit. Those are the key metrics, but those are very simple metrics that you should be able to track right away. You log into any analytics program. If you're using Google, if you're using Omniture, you should be able to track those metrics quickly. Another metric that is very important for us when it comes to conversion optimization is the percentage of main homepage views to the overall page views for the website. People find this a little strange, and they're always trying to understand, why is this metric important when we try to determine whether we should be doing conversion optimization for the main homepage or not. Think about this. Ultimately, if you want to optimize the main homepage or any other page on your website, you're only optimizing the segment of traffic that goes through that main homepage. So if I have let's say on my website, I have 100,000 visitors. Of those 100,000 visitors, only 10,000 visitors go through the main homepage, and I optimize the main homepage. That means I'm optimizing the experience of only 10,000 visitors. I'm not optimizing the experience of all 100,000 visitors. If I increase the conversion from the main homepage to the order confirmation, so macro conversion, if I increase that conversion rate, I'm still increasing only the conversion rate for those 10,000 visitors. The remaining 90,000 visitors, because they do not go through the main homepage, designing a better homepage will not help us actually see a tremendous increase in conversion rates. So that's the reason you want to look at that percentage. The percentage of page views for the main homepage compared to the page views for the overall website. So the higher that percentage is, the better chance you will have in impacting the conversion rate, and the more focus you should pay. You should pay more focus on the main homepage. So for example, if I only find that only 10% of my visitors view the main homepage, I would not necessarily jump on optimizing the main homepage right away. But if I find that 70% of my visitors actually go through the main homepage, that definitely makes that page a more prime candidate for conversion optimization. Another metric that's important, and this metric is very particular to Google, which is used to be called the index value. Now it's called the page value. Now Google calculates a page value, a numerical page value based on revenue, if a visitor goes through a main homepage on their path to conversion. Then Google assigns a dollar value for each one of those pages that are on the conversion path. Ultimately, this is not necessarily a dollar value, an one-to-one dollar value. That's, you take the number of steps and you divide them and you give it to the particular page. It's a lot more complex. However, it's a good way to tell you how much a page contributes to your conversion rate. And Google calculates a value and assigns it to each one of the pages on the website. So for example, it might say that the main homepage has a $5 value. And at the same time, it gives an average for the overall website for the page value. Now, there's usually and typically two scenarios that we have to look at and consider. One is that the homepage value is higher than the site average. And another scenario is that the homepage value is actually less than the site average. Those are the two scenarios. And let's give you a specific example. I just pulled this for one of our customers where the homepage value was $5.50. The average page value for the site was $4. And the question is, well, should I be optimizing the homepage or not? Just purely looking at the page value. Let me pose the question to you guys and see what do you think? Should we consider optimizing the homepage if in this case, or should we skip actually optimizing the homepage? And let's see some answers over here. What do you guys think? So if we have, and I see no, and then I see optimize, I see skip. So I see that's it's a 50-50 actually. Yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. So the answer is, kind of mix between the two. Now let's see what the, there's two schools of thought actually when it comes, just similar to what you guys said. The very first school over here that says, yes, you should optimize the homepage if you're just purely looking at the main homepage of the page value. The reason for that, the homepage generates more dollar value compared to the rest of the website, so we should definitely try and optimize it because we know that's if a typical page generates $4, the main homepage generates $5.50. If we can convert more visitors, then there is definitely more money to be made there. Now, the other second school of thought that says, no, do not optimize the main homepage. You're already maxing out. You're already performing much better than the rest of the website. So let's focus on the rest of the website and determine, and come back to the main homepage later. What is the correct answer? The correct answer is really, in this case, you need to look at the exit rate and the bounce rate. If we are losing, the exit rate and the bounce rate help you determine how many visitors you are losing from the main homepage. If I know that we're only losing, and in this case also you want to even look at the number of exits and the number of bounces. If we know that we are losing 10,000, 20,000 visitors, if we're losing 15, or if we're losing only 1,000 visitors, then in that case, optimizing, if the pool of exits and bounces is small, then I would not even focus on that. But if we see that the pool is large, so if I see that the pool has, let's say 20,000 visitors or 100,000 visitors, and notice over here, I'm not talking even about percentages. I'm talking about the number of visitors. People always find this a little strange, but I always talk about, about the size of the pool, and also depends on the type of website that you are dealing with. We have some customers, for example, on the main homepage that have, 2-3 million page views to the main homepage. Now, 2-3 million page views, even with a 20% exit rate, that's still a significant number. We're still talking about 200,000 visitors that are exiting, or sometimes even 400,000 visitors exiting. And with a dollar value of $5.50, that is significant. And that's an area where I want to capture some of those visitors and convert them. And I know it will have a major impact on the bottom line for my customer. Another area that's you want to look at, and some of these would require you to do some math, and there is really no specific science to this. You just have to look at the numbers and try and make sense of those numbers. We always like to pull the visits, the overall visits for the website, the overall visits to the main homepage, and compare those to the visits with transactions or visits with conversions. Now, there's something important over here that I want to point out is if you are an e-commerce website and you have funnels set up on your website and you try and pull the visits with conversions, specific advanced segments in Google Analytics, if a visitor is going through a funnel and then they convert, Google counts that as a conversion. So you need to be very aware of this. So sometimes you have to do visits with transactions. So just kind of be mindful of doing that. In this specific case, as you see over here, the overall page views for the site was 1.8 million. The visits with transaction page views were 148,000. So we start looking at some of those numbers. Now notice for the main homepage over here, we had 132,000 page views. Of those, only 3,800 converted, actually, were the visits that converted. So one of the things that I want to look at is the number of conversions that we generated through going through the main homepage versus the overall conversions. As you see over here, the main homepage only contributed about 2.62% of the overall conversions. Does that mean that the main homepage is valuable? No, not really. The main homepage contributes very little to the overall conversions for this particular website. Also over here, we look at the homepage page view conversions versus the homepage views. You compare those two numbers, the 132,000 versus the 3,800. We notice over here that 2.93% of the homepage homepage views are actually resulting in a conversion. That means that we still also have an opportunity. So I'm giving you some metrics that might appear like they contradict each other, but you want to kind of keep in that, because conversion optimization is about looking at all these different metrics and putting them together and trying really to make a determination whether we should be optimizing the main homepage or not. Now, one of the areas that we want to optimize to put things in a full perspective, so we know that only 2.93% of the homepage page views result in a conversion. How does the rest of the site operate or perform? Notice how we did some math over here, and we find that for the rest of the site, on average, 8.36% of the of a particular page visitors will actually result in conversion. So the main homepage is actually performing tremendously less than the rest of the website. The homepage is also contributing very little to the overall conversions. With some of these metrics, we can make a very solid case why we shouldn't be looking at the main homepage, at least not as an initial page that we should be optimizing.